Jillian Peterson is an associate professor of criminology and criminal justice and the director of forensic psychology at Hamline University. She and sociologist James Densley wrote a book called The Violence Project: How to Stop a Mass Shooting Epidemic.
She also co-founded the Violence Prevention Project, a nonpartisan nonprofit research center dedicated to reducing violence through research and analysis. She joins us now. Jillian, thanks for being with us.
Thanks so much for having me.
A part of your approach is using data and really using a mental health approach to stop these mass shooters. But when you think about how many red flags there were in this particular case, how was something how were weapons not taken away? What are your thoughts about what went wrong?
You know, every time this happens, I feel like it's the same story again and again. And there's always so many warning signs, red flags that get missed, and people just don't think someone that they know could do something like this. But the majority of perpetrators make threats ahead of time, tell people about their plans. Almost all of them are in a noticeable state of crisis. Sometimes that's related to mental health, sometimes it's not, but their behavior is changing. People around them know something is wrong. This is a case in Maine where they didn't have things like a red flag law that allowed them to remove firearms from somebody who was a threat to themselves or others. And it sounds like he really didn't get connected with the services and intervention that he needed.
Well, let me ask about that, because it seems like access to mental health in this country is pretty difficult. What does your research show? How do you change that?
You know, mental health concerns are common amongst perpetrators, but we certainly don't want to say that mental illness in any way causes a mass shooting. So if we look at psychosis, it's about 25% of perpetrators might experience some sort of thought disorder, although it's really only driving a mass shooting in about 10% of cases. If we look at things like previous hospitalizations, it's about 20% of perpetrators, which is higher than the general population, but that's still the majority of perpetrators who have not experienced that. So the relationship between mental illness and mass shootings, it's tricky and it's complicated. It's not kind of a yes or no type of question. But when it comes to accessing mental health resources, that is something that is a serious problem in this country, especially if you need serious and long-term care with consistent follow-up.
So what would you have done if you had been brought in and you recommend, obviously the red flag law would have been great, but is someone did not recommend court-ordered treatment at a certain point? Is there anything you could have done as maybe an expert in this area?
You know, it's hard to say because there's so much we still don't know and facts are still emerging. I think anything we can do to make it more difficult for people who are in crisis, who are a threat to themselves or others, to get access to firearms. So red flag laws, even a background check in this case, probably would have flagged that mental health hospitalization that the perpetrator had previously and not allowed him to purchase weapons.
But if you're saying that mental illness is a smaller percentage of what impacts the motivation of some of these people, what accounts for the rest of it? Is it just personality disorder or something?
It's a good question. We see this consistent pathway again and again and again. It typically starts very early with a lot of violence and abuse in their background and in their home life, develops over time to a crisis point where perpetrators are actively suicidal, they're hopeless, they're typically pretty isolated, their behavior is changing. They study other perpetrators. A lot of them get radicalized online or see themselves in other perpetrators. And in doing this, this is designed to be a final act. They typically do it with the intent of either dying in the act or spending the rest of their lives in prison, but they're looking to make headlines. They're looking to become famous. They want to share their anger and grievance with the world and make us all watch it.
Well, for more information on the book, you can check out the website, which is on the screen now. Jillian, thanks for being with us.
Thanks so much for having me.
Time now, 7:37.